To guide and to be guided.
To guide and to be guided.
By soundproof.
By sound.
And correct knowledge.
And correct knowledge.
To seek the countenance of my Lord.
To seek the countenance of my Lord.
Nearness to him.
Nearness to him.
And his reward.
And his reward.
We're also here by the intention to expose our hearts to his generosity and to his maghfirah, to his purification, that he would be gentle with us. We're here by the intention that we can strengthen the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. We're here by the intention that we can hold on to the rope of Allah. We're here by the intention to cultivate istiqamah in our lives. We're here by the intention that we can have the light of faith and the light of knowledge. We're here by the intention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would number us amongst those that he has granted complete salvation in this dunya and the akhirah. That us and our entire lineage will be amongst those that he saves from the hellfire, and that he would grant Jannah to Firdaus al-A'la. We're here by the intention that he would make us amongst the servants with whom he is well pleased, and that we can be a light by which we help to guide others out of darkness. I want to start off, inshallah, today's class. We've been talking about, this is the third in a 3-part series where we have been addressing istiqamah, right? What's istiqamah? Consistency, steadfastness, yes. Consistency, to be steadfast, to be firm upon sirat al-mustaqim, right? To be upright, to be righteous, all of those things. To be upright and righteous upon the straight path with consistency and being steadfast, yeah? Okay, so tonight, inshallah, and last week, Ustad Manahil addressed istiqamah, right? From the perspective of, from the psychological nature, right? From the perspective of more or less, from another angle. So tonight, inshallah, I want to kind of close out this series with one of the examples that is mentioned in the Quran that gives us like what is the epitome of istiqamah. Right? What is the epitome, the culmination, what is the embodiment of istiqamah in 2 different aspects? And so, like, for example, how do we apply it in our daily affairs, in our daily lives, can be basically, can be seen and implemented thoroughly, can be from the story of Yusuf, alayhi salam. So when we look at the story of Yusuf that is taken in the 12th chapter of the Quran, what we know is that, subhanallah, is that his father is Prophet Yaqoob, right? Alayhi salam. His father is Prophet Yaqoob, alayhi salam. And Yaqoob, even though he is considered, mashallah, he's considered this great prophet, he's considered one who even assisted in terms of migration into Egypt, that subhanallah, he has 12 sons. And from these 12 sons, majority of them are not on the straight path in the beginning of the story, right? The majority of his children, he has one, alhamdulillah, that's righteous, right? And he has another one that's like, he's striving, right? He's got iman, but he's struggling. He's under a lot of influence of his other brothers. And these brothers are not, this is not, when I say they're struggling in their faith, I want to let you, these brothers were some straight gangsters. Okay? Let's just call a spade a spade. How do we know? You might say, Sister Ieasha, subhanAllah, how could you call them straight gangsters? Well, when I tell you their story, you tell me what you think. So, subhanAllah, we know that the story begins with Prophet Yusuf going to his father and telling him that he saw, right, that he saw this dream where the planets and the stars came and made sujood to him, right? And when Yaqoob, being a prophet, he knows that his father is a righteous man, he will understand the dream. So there is a relationship, right, between Yusuf and Yaqoob alayhim salam, right? There is a relationship between the two of them. That is a relationship of beauty and advice and respect, and from the perspective of faith. This story already begins to tell us the importance of when we talked about love from the perspective of iman versus love from the perspective of dunya, right? That when you have love of iman, this is also in relationship between the parent and the child. That if you have a love for the parent, that gives you a respect for them because of their faith and their position that is disconnected from who you are. Meaning that sometimes we only love our parents based upon that conditional relationship of what they are to us, right? Because they fed us, they gave us food, because they took care of us in our home, and subhanAllah, even love from these dunya perspectives can actually weaken when circumstances of life or culture or things happen. There are some, there is weakening in that love. That love can be tested. But when the parent and child relationship is also based on a respect upon faith, right? This cultivates a different type of love, right? This cultivates an istiqamah even in that relationship, a righteousness and a steadfastness even inside of that relationship. So what we learned from the beginning is that Yusuf and Yaqoob alayhum assalam had this relationship, right? So what happens? Yaqoob has, it just becomes known. He has, his heart is more inclined toward this particular child because this child is righteous. Why? One who loves Allah is going to be more inclined to one who loves Allah, right? Naturally. This is the nature of the human being. This is challenging, I know, for parents and children, because if you have one child that, you might feel like my parents love him more, my parents love her more, she was the righteous one, right? But subhanAllah, this is a very natural thing. And as you cultivate love on the basis of iman, not upon the basis of dunya, then you're able to, that love has a higher level and goes beyond muhabba to muwadda, right? Goes beyond just like an affectionate love to a true and solid love. So we begin to see this between father and son. And subhanAllah, the brothers are jealous, right? The brothers are like, they're just jealous. They're jealous to the point that they graduate from jealousy. Remember we talked about jealousy into envy into treachery. Remember we talked about that before. From jealousy to envy and treachery. Jealousy is like, I'm just mad that you have it, right? Like, I want some of that. Envy is, I don't want you to have it, right? And envy can lead to treachery because then I may do something to actually keep it away from you, or I may do something to try to take it, right? I make sure you don't have it. So this is exactly what these brothers did, right? These 11 brothers basically decide, look, I'm sick of him. We're going to take him out and we're going to kill him, right? We're going to take him out. Like, I'm so jealous of the relationship that he has with my father. I don't want him to have it. I don't want him to have the gaze of my father. I don't want him to have this relationship with my father. I'm going to end it by ending his life. So they go to the father and convince Prophet Yaqoob alayhi salam. They go to him and convince him, let us take our brother out for an outing. Let us take him out. And the father immediately knows, like, no. You're going to come back to me and tell me something happened. You lost him, right? You're going to come back to me with some story. And they're convinced. They work on the father, right? They work on, what are they doing though? They're lying, right? They're lying. They just tell him lie after lie after lie after lie, and they keep working on him. And Yaqoob is like, let me just give them a chance. Even though his heart tells him better, right? His heart is like, let me just give them a chance. They wore me down. Any parent knows this. When your child just works on you, like, fine, do whatever you want. And so, subhanAllah, they take him out. There's one brother amongst them that says, come on, guys, we can't kill him. Right? We can't kill him. I want you, remember I said, what are they? These are some straight gangsters. They have basically come together and we're going to murder him. Right? We're going to murder him, drop his body somewhere, bury his body, nobody will find him. We're going to slaughter, we're going to kill, an animal, a wolf, a lamb. We're going to kill the animal, put the blood on the shirt, give the blood to our father, give the shirt to our father. Right? There's one brother who's like, no, we can't kill him. Like, that's just too far. Like, we can't kill him. And so they basically decide, okay, we won't kill him. We will drop him down a well. Right? Now, I don't know about you, but even the thought of dropping him down a well is like, it's not enough that we take him somewhere and leave him. That's not enough. Because dropping him down a well leaves the possibility for death. Right? It leaves the possibility for it. Because if you drop him, how long will he fall? He might snap his neck. He might bust his head. Anything. But it's not enough to leave him. That won't ease the level of envy that has occurred inside their heart. Dangerous for this disease to fester. Right? And so they drop him down a well and they leave him. And they do exactly as we said. They kill an animal, smear the shirt with the blood, and then take it back to the father. And tell the father this concocted story. Our brother got eaten by a wolf, right? We tried to stop him. See, here's the nature of a lie. Is that when you tell a lie, you have to tell another lie, possibly a bigger lie, in order to cover up for the lie that you've told. Until you are written amongst those who are gathered, right? Until you were mentioned amongst those that you are a liar. You have walked these footsteps of treachery so long. You have been telling these lies so long that sometimes you might even believe the truth yourself. That you can tell someone, you can look them in their face and tell them a bold-faced lie and feel no shame. Right? And will back that lie. Will be firm upon that lie. As if that lie is the truth. Right? You're representing it. This is the case of the brothers. They go to their righteous father. And it's another thing when you are so enveloped in your own darkness that you can look into the light and still lie. Right? So they look at their righteous father and they don't say, he ran away. He got lost. We can't find him. They say he got eaten. This elaborate story. He got eaten by a wolf. We got attacked by a wolf. And, here are his clothes, his shirt. We got evidence, Baba. Daddy, we got evidence. He looks at it. He smells it. This is not my son. I must tell you, anybody who has children, you know the smell of your children. You know their smell. SubhanAllah. You know their smell. There is literally a brain chemical, a chemical in the brain that, subhanAllah, the mother, I think it's also the father, that when the children are near, this smell creates in them a more, not just more empathy, but a protective nature over their children. What time are you going to be back? Did you eat? How long are you going to be gone for? Who are you going with? There is just, by nature, because of their smell. When they're gone for a period of time, they're off at college, or they went away, it actually decreases because that smell is not present. So that hormone begins to decrease. So they're not as worried about you, right? As opposed to when you're present. You go home, you're like, what happened? I've been gone for months. I've been taking care of myself for months, right? I didn't need you to worry about, did I eat? Did I sleep? Did I do this? What happened? It's because now you're close and that smell is back. Right? So Yaqoob alayhi salam, he smells it. This ain't my son. But what does he say? I only complain of my grief and sorrow to Allah. This is the first level of istiqamah. The first steadfastness. The first level, what is it? Sabran jamilan. Right? The first step, sabran jamilan. He is patient with a beautiful patience. Right? Anyone else, a mother, a father would start wailing, start beating you, would start smacking you up. You're going to tell me what you did. You're going, you lost him, anything. Even if they believed that he was dead, subhanAllah, that initial reaction. Most would just begin to go crazy. Right? Would just begin to hit themselves, just be hysterical. He looks at them. He knows they're lying. He knows they're lying. Right? He says, I only complain of my grief and sorrow to Allah. But what is a witness about it is that, subhanAllah, he is so sad that there is a cloudiness that forms over his eyes. What is so beautiful in this moment is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a little peek into the Quran of the miracle of it. Right? Just by telling us that, he gives us a little peek of how much this Quran is a mu'jiza and is a miracle. Because what we learn later, right, is that, subhanAllah, that when someone experiences sadness, it releases a chemical in the brain that specifically causes a level of cloudiness to come over the eye, that this is one of the reasons and the causes of the development of cataracts. SubhanAllah. Right? So, this cloudiness comes over his eyes, but this is also a result of him holding it in, being steadfast, being patient. He doesn't only just keep it silent, right? He's not just in a case, I want us to understand, sabr and jamilan is not, sometimes it is waiting. But it is never waiting without speaking to Allah. Most of us think, I'm not going to talk to Allah. I'm not going to ask Allah about this. Blasphemous thing. He's too busy. He's too busy to be concerned with me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never too busy to be concerned with you. Right? He has a direct relationship with you always. And he says, make dua. Come to me. Come to me. Every night he says, is there anyone who is asking for forgiveness? I may grant it to them. Is there anyone in need of something I can grant that's asking me? I want to give it to them. So the fact that he's not just like, I'm depressed, I don't want to talk to Allah, Allah allowed this to happen, right? No. That's the difference between huzn wa gham, right? Sadness and a unhealthy depression. This is the difference. One can be content with Allah and still experience sadness because of loss. One can be, I'm still raditu billahi rabban, wa bil islami dinan, wa bi sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam nabiyya rasulah. I'm pleased with Allah as my Lord, with Islam as my deen, and with the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam as my prophet and messenger. I'm pleased with that. But I'm hurting. That's okay. That doesn't rob you of consistency. Unless you allow it to take you away from your Lord. If it becomes, you are nursing this sickness, this sadness. I'm taking it to bed, the covers are over my head. I won't get out of the bed to even make wudu, let alone make salah. I'm not tired. I don't want to talk to Allah. If you become angry with Allah, Ya Rabbi, why did you let this happen to me? This is the opposite. This is when someone has a deep sense of entitlement with Allah. A deep sense of what you should give me. What you should be doing for me. With this kind of thinking, Allah, I gave you this, you're supposed to give me that. Right? I prayed, I fasted, I'm Muslim, I'm wearing my hijab, or I gave charity. Why did you let this happen to me? That's not how this works. Right? Because he knows our condition, he lets these things happen to us. Because he knows our spiritual state, he gives us these trials. Because he knows you want Jannah, right? He gives us these conditions so that we may learn, so that we may rectify our character, so that we may beautify our souls. Right? With what? How are you going to excel? How are you going to get stronger muscles if you don't exercise? Right? It doesn't work like that. Right? You don't get strong unless you do some work. You got to lift some weights. And you can't keep lifting like 1 pound. Like, I'm doing it. Right? I'm getting strong. No. You have to have some muscle tear. Right? It hurts, it's pain. Gonna put some healing balm on it. You're going to lift 5 pounds. Then 10. Then 20. That's how you build up. That's how you graduate to next levels. So in this case, the father has one of the greatest trials in this moment. Yaqoob alayhi salam has the greatest trial. Two of them. One, majority of his children are not upon the straight path. After he has done everything as a father, he's even a prophet, to make sure they're guided. Majority of his children are not upon the straight path. And now the one child that is upon the straight path is gone from him. Any parent will tell you the biggest trial to ever suffer is the loss of a child. وَإِيَّذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ is the loss of a child. And to say I don't know where he is, I can't bury him, I don't know what happened, I don't have explanation, I just have some cockamamie story you made up. I don't even have a body to grieve over, to pray Salatul Janazah. I have nothing but some shirt, and I have no idea where my son is. This is like reason for constant worry and concern. But he says, I only complain of my grief and my sorrow to Allah. Why? What does he recognize? No human being can assist me unless Allah allows. What he recognizes in that moment is La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That it's upon Allah I completely rely. I put my trust completely in Allah. Because only Allah can save me from this. Only Allah can guide me through this. Only Allah can keep me steadfast. Right? Next step. After sabr, you rely upon Allah. Reliance upon Allah. Now, we hold that, we freeze that screen. We go to Yusuf. Yusuf is at the bottom of this well. I can't imagine what that was like. Jazakumullah khair. I can't imagine what that was like. To be hated for your iman. Not like outside, not like, the society, but by your own brothers. Right? By your own brothers. They hate you so much, they're debating. I don't even want to know what is the feeling to listen to your brothers debate about whether or not we're going to kill you or not. We're going to kill you or we're going to drop you down a well. Just to be in the presence of that conversation. Right? And then for them to decide they're going to drop you down a well. And of course, it's 11 against 1. They drop him down the well. But how am I going to get, they have left me. How am I going to get out? How am I going to, will I die at the bottom of this well when darkness approaches? What? He's in this, subhanallah, in this state. What must he do? Rely upon Allah. Now, subhanallah, some people come by, fetch him out. You think, relief, right? I'm going to be saved. And there are moments like this. There are moments where you're like, I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent me relief. And guess what? He is sold into slavery. Right? He's sold into slavery. You're like, Ya Allah, I was one of the good guys. I was one who believed in you. I was the one who's praying. I was the one who's fasting. How could it go from bad to worse? Right? And then this level of, like, it's another thing to be, to feel lonely. But now he becomes a stranger in a strange land amongst strange people. Subhanal Khaliq, he ends up, alhamdulillah, in the home of the king of Egypt, the leader of Egypt. But alhamdulillah is a righteous man. But the wife at this time is not so righteous. So the king is like, we'll take care of him, we'll be good to him, but he's still, right, a prisoner in this place. He can't leave. Doesn't know where his family is, right? Can't say like, let me send a message, let me, subhanAllah. As he grows up in this place, there is a predator in the midst. Right? There's a predator in the midst. And when he becomes older, she attempts to seduce him. Now this woman is not, she's beautiful. She's beautiful. Zulaykha is described as extremely beautiful. She's extremely beautiful. She's extremely wealthy. And she's extremely powerful. So, many people would just say, I need some comfort in this life. Something gotta give. Right? I mean, somebody gotta love me. Right? My brother, my family don't love me. I haven't seen them in God knows when. I mean, why not? Right? She's rich. She's beautiful. She's gonna be some comfort for me. Why not? Why not? I'm young. Let me just go to bed with her. Because what we know about Yusuf is, what does he do? I seek refuge in Allah from you. If Allah does not keep me steadfast from you, I would stray. Look at him. I love this portion of Yusuf, alayhi salam. He does not trust his own nafs. He's not a fool. Right? He doesn't trust his own nafs. He knows the human being, the possibility of treachery is around the corner. The possibility of slipping, the possibility of disbelief, the possibility of sin is possible. Never think, oh no, mashallah, I could never. Oh, I would never do that. Oh, you couldn't get me with that one. Oh my goodness, I would never fall for something like that. وَإِيَّاذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. وَإِيَّاذُ بِاللَّهِ. You could be put in the right circumstances. Right? You could be put in the right circumstance. Most of you women, mashallah alayhum, they're like, oh, come on. Most of like, these men, please. I would never. Let the right one come along. Let him be rich enough, cute enough, powerful enough, dressed the right way. Oh, he looking good and he talking right. Right? He the type that might change my life. Right? You never know. So, what is steadfastness? You have to be old enough to know that lyric. What is the steadfastness? What is the istiqamah? You have to be that kind of person that is running to Allah. Like I am, Ya Rabbi, they're trying to get me. Shaitan is trying to get me, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, they whispering to me. Ya Allah, my nafs is acting up. Ya Allah, you know what's going on inside my body, my mind. Ya Rabbi, help me. They trying to get me. You have to be that kind. You have to constantly be seeking refuge in Allah. And have the kind of relationship with Allah that is based on who you are. What does that mean? That's how you have an honest relationship with Allah. Your dua is not the type of dua that is Allah, how art thou? How praise thee? No. Ya Rabbi, I seek refuge in you. You know I'm having some difficulty here. Ya Allah, you know that I'm weak. This woman is beautiful, or this man is this. Ya Rabbi, they sent him looking good. Ya Allah, help me, right? Allah, I need help. You know me, Ya Rabbi. You know me. You know my weaknesses. You see my state. You know my state better than me. I seek refuge in you, O Allah, from that which tempts me. Right? In the case of Yusuf, he said, I was inclined toward her. Why? She was beautiful. Right? She was beautiful. It's tempting. But he said, Oh no, he makes a slip. I'd rather go to prison than that. Alhamdulillah, he has that level of taqwa. Also, he has loyalty. He reminds her about her husband. Your husband took care of me. Your husband looked after me. Your husband, no. No. Because then what happened to me? So, she gets him in a room. She doesn't stop. She gets him in a room by herself. It says her heart became consumed. In the verses of the Quran, her heart became consumed with it. Right? Her heart is consumed. She goes to Yusuf. She locks him in a room. She's like, I can't take it. You walking around here looking good every day. Right? You just tempting me with this. This is too much. Now, that might sound silly, but you live in a mixed society, right? They passing by you you coming in class looking good. You sitting beside me smelling good. Here you go. There you are. You guys are mixing a lot. Right? So she couldn't take it anymore. She locks him in a room. She attempts to seduce him. He runs away from her. Like, no. Little, what did I say? Allah! They trying to get me. Right? She rips his shirt. The doors open. Her husband and his advisor enter the room. And what does she do? She lies. Right? She got to make up something. Got to come up with something quick. He tried to seduce me. He does the opposite of the stories we hear. Right? She's like, he tried to seduce me. It was him. Then she excels in it. When he's like, these women are fitna. These women, I don't know. He has a moment. What's that? He has a moment. What is this? Oh, no, I can't say that. There's plenty of songs like they can't be trusted, right? They ain't loyal. That's what it is. These women ain't loyal. He has a moment of, these women ain't loyal, right? He has a moment like that. Like girl, I done put you in this beautiful house. You living in this palace. You have everything you want. You around here chasing this young man, right? These women ain't loyal. Then his advisor says, well, if his shirt is torn from the front, she's telling the truth. But if his shirt is torn from the back, he's telling the truth. And his shirt is torn from where? The back. So you think this is Yusuf's moment. I'm going to be vindicated, right? Everyone is going to know I'm innocent. I'm going to be like, I don't know what's going to happen to her. But guess what happens? They throw him in prison, knowing he's innocent. Like, you know what? It's better we just separate you two. So she's the queen. She's the first lady. She's not going anywhere. So it's better we just put you in prison. So at this moment, I want you to look at the trial upon trial upon trial of Yusuf. I got family problems, right? I got big family problems. They have thrown me down a well. I am distant from my family. I am distant from my father, right? Remember, there's a love. He misses his father as well. Now I've been sold into slavery. Okay, maybe, now I'm in the home of the king of Egypt, so you would think it wouldn't be so bad. But now I got this problem. I got this woman problem. I got 99 problems and a woman is one, right? I got this woman as a problem, and now you throw me in prison? These are moments when we're like, Ya Rabbi, I'm trying. Ya Rabbi, I'm doing the right thing. Another trial you send me? Ya Rabbi? Hey? And he's not in jail for a year. How long is Yusuf in jail for? Who knows? Anybody else?
20.
Who else knows? 7, 20, 11? Anybody else? You on your who got Quran on their phone? He's in jail for 7. And then one of his friends gets released. And he says, go remind the king about my case. His friend gets out and he forgot. And he spends another 7. For a crime he did not commit. Right? For a crime he did not commit. One may think like, Ya Rabbi, that's too much. Rabbi, how could you test me? That's too much. But what does Allah know that we forget? There is a moment when the believers walk into paradise. Right? They are dipped in paradise like this. After suffering. And they say, they're asked, did you ever know any suffering? And they say, La ya Allah, wallahi, I swear by Allah, I never knew any suffering. The moment they dipped into Jannah, I never knew any sadness. I never experienced any hardship. Hardship? What you talking about? Right? SubhanAllah. But you have to believe in the ghaib. Remember that? You have to believe in number 6 of the 6 articles of faith. You have to believe in the day of judgment. You have to believe in akhirah. You have to believe in Jannah. If you believe this dunya is the end, then there's no way we could believe in justice. We might as well just do whatever. But I believe in justice. I don't believe human beings even have the concept of justice without Allah having the concept of justice. I believe in justice. So I believe 100% there's akhirah. No doubt about it, Jannah exists. No doubt about it. I know Allah would never allow some of these people who put people in prison, right? Knowing they're innocent, who tortured, who raped, who killed, who sold millions into slavery. The situation with the Muslims in China with the Uyghur, no way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would allow that to go free. Nah, no doubt about it. Allah is just. And He is not asleep. But you have to know that when it happens to you. You have to have it. The test becomes, it's easy to say that when it's somebody else. It's so much more difficult to say that when it's happening to you. Right? When we sit at this moment, doubt is a privilege. Doubt is a privilege. Why? Because we sit in a position of privilege where we can contemplate it from afar. As opposed to when it's up close and in your face. Right? SubhanAllah. Allah musta'an. So there is, in these moments, there can be trial in wealth or in poverty. There's trial in ease. When you have ease, can you remain steadfast? Right? And when it's difficult, do you remain steadfast? Sometimes it gets easy, we forget. You know, I'm partying. I'm living my life. I'm traveling. I'm in Dubai. I'm in the club. I'm in the movie. I'm in the mall. I'm in the whatever. Right? You're like, life is good. As soon as the trial hits, Ya Allah. Right? Or people the opposite. Long as life is easy, they're praying, they're doing their prayers. Hardship hits, Allah, how could you do this to me? And then they stop talking to Allah. May Allah save us from being any one of these. May Allah save us from that. May Allah make us the people of istiqamah. So, Yusuf subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's there for 7 and 7. And some say more. Because, subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is then released. Right? After all this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes him like the minister of agriculture. He becomes a leader in his land. His brothers come to, I want you to go home and read this story in Surah 12, Surah Yusuf. His brothers come and he recognizes them, but they don't recognize him. It's been a long time, right? They don't recognize him. So he sets them up. I won't go through the whole details. But subhanAllah, what's known about his brothers is that they're not the same as they were before. They're not as gangster as they were before. They have some more level of consciousness now that they're older than they were before. So then eventually he reminds them, right? They come back a second time. He reminds them, you know who I am? And then he has to tell them they don't have Nur al-Iman. They don't have the light of faith. So they cannot see through the darkness. They cannot see through the veils. He knows them, but they don't know him. Right? So he sees and he tells them. He lets them know, I'm your brother. And look at what he says. He's not carrying it. He's not holding on. Even though if any one of us contemplate for yourself, knowing yourself, if you have been in prison, if you have been thrown in a well, sold into slavery, put in prison for 14 years, and then you met the people who were the culprits of that, what would you say? All of us would be like, it wouldn't be what I was saying. Oh man, what I would be plotting. Right? He literally, what does he say? It wasn't you. I know that it was shaitan. I know that it was shaitan. I don't blame you. Literally, he said, I don't blame you. I blame shaitan. Right? That's what he says. Done. 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 Like, there's nothing to forgive. We could say he forgave them. He didn't forgive them. He pardoned them. That's different. That's a whole nother level. Right? Forgiveness is, I want to hold you accountable. Pardon is, I'm not carrying anything. There's nothing to remove from my heart. I'm not staying by your actions at all. That's istiqamah. I'm not staying, my heart is not affected by what you did. That's the difference between my body is affected, but my heart is not affected. Right? That's the difference between I may be frustrated by my circumstance. I may feel pressured by my circumstance, but it's not ghadab. Right? It's not, I'm not angry about it. La taghdab. As the Prophet don't get angry. Why? That's internal. You've internalized your pain. That's high level. Yes, we're talking about the Anbiya of Allah. Right? High level. He pardons them. But what happens? They become redeemed as a result. That level of forgiveness becomes great redemption for them. Great redemption. He then does something. Subhanallah, he takes off, he gives him his shirt. He gives his brothers his shirt. And says, because they tell him, our father has been grieving, sad over you. He gives him his shirt, said, throw my shirt over his face. Right? And so when they go to him, and they throw the shirt over his face, subhanallah, Allah gives us the next mu'jizah. Second mu'jizah. What we learn about what they've discovered about what cures cataracts, right, is a chemical called urea, which comes from like the sweat gland. And they developed it into an eye drop. And now it is one of the cures for cataracts, particularly the cataracts that is a result of the So when there's a kind of sadness, it releases high levels of insulin, high levels of sugar into the blood. Right? And so then they sometimes say diabetics develop this same. So this one that is as a result of that high level of insulin in the blood, or result of that high level, what's the other one that's cortisol, or like stress, sad, was released into the blood, that this urea, they develop into an eye drop, it is a cure for this type of cataract. SubhanAllah. Another mu'jizah. When did we learn this? Recently. Last few years, doctors developed it. SubhanAllah. But it's in the Quran. Why did he give him his shirt? It's his sweat. SubhanAllah. And Yaqoob's eyesight is restored. Second redemption. Now, would his shirt have had the same kind of chemical had it been that kind of, you ever, angry sweat is a different smell, isn't it? Angry sweat is a different smell than one's natural body sweat. SubhanAllah. Has a different chemical inside. So he gives it to him. His eyesight becomes cured. There is also physical redemption. Now we need one more. The king has died. Zuleika has lost her power. She's living in poverty. Everyone knows that she was that treacherous woman who tried to seduce that young man. And she's living in, basically in squalor. He passes her along the way. She's on the side of the road and he passes by her. This is in Imam al-Hamdani's book. And he passes her along the way and she turns and she sees him. She notices him. What does she have? Nur al-Iman. She's been repenting for a number of years. Right? And he is like, Zuleika? She's lost all her beauty. She doesn't have all of her, beautiful clothes. She's not in a queenly state. And he, inquires about her. He knows already that the king had passed away many years ago. She says, I have been living my life in repentance for what I did to you. She apologizes to him. He then places his cloak over her face and makes dua. He makes dua for her and her beauty and her youth is restored. What is known, subhanAllah, as in the book of Hadith is that they get married. Okay? Is that they marry. He marries Zuleika at the end. Because remember what? He was inclined toward her. It wasn't that he himself wasn't like he didn't like her. No, he liked her. But I like you, but I love Allah. Right? Or I like you, but I'm loyal. Even, I'm loyal. And that supersedes, no, this is wrong. All of my inclination is not permission for sin. Right? So, subhanAllah, the cloak goes over her face. He makes dua for her. And her beauty and her youth is restored. And subhanAllah, but now she's in love with Allah. And so the story of Imam Haddani goes, she is on their wedding night, she is praying. And as she is praying, she's praying extra prayers. And he's like, girl, I've been waiting, I don't know how many years. And so he tugs at her scarf. And he tears it. He tears her scarf. And when she finishes praying, she says, a tear for a tear. We're even. We're even. And khalas, we don't know what happens next, but you can probably figure it out. What is this story about? How if you have istiqamah, if you have steadfastness, if you remain consistent with Allah no matter what, recognizing that even when you are tried, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you more blessings than you could ever ask for. More than you could ever ask for. Subhanal Khaliq. In addition to, just because you're being tried in the moment doesn't mean he's not going to manifest and increase, right, goodness for you after. And it's not only in the akhirah. After he gets out of prison, he becomes the Minister of Commerce. Right? He's known. People know him. They know him as an honest guy. And they know him from the top to the bottom. People who are in prison, now he's in a position of what? Those who were in prison, who were wrongly in prison, he's also in a position to assist them. He's in a position to help them. In addition to, he knows about the common man. He knows about everyday people. There's a level of relationship, literally, from the grassroots level to the high kingships he knows. Look at his level of power and influence in the land, subhanAllah. Not to mention and Allah gives him the woman he wanted. Subhanallah. You might know. Don't think he's gonna get older, you're gonna put something on his face, you're gonna make dua. It's not gonna work. But Allah might replace it with someone better. Right? Allah might replace it with someone better if you're patient, if you have steadfastness. Right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, if you stick with me, I will redeem you. And not just you. I will redeem and rectify your family. I will redeem and rectify your affairs. I will redeem and rectify your relationships. I'll fix it. But just hold tight. Istiqamah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك.